Welcome to the August 14th bhyve production user call. We have Hazam, Alexander, Alexei, Andrew, and myself, Michael, so far. And Euro bhyvecon is a thing, and we could use some sponsors to cover some travel costs and perhaps food. I should update the site. I finally have a ticket to Euro-based econ. There is an article that showed up just the other day. Oh no, someone posted, I suppose. It's November 26, 2024, but it is about replacing Proxmox with FreeBSD and bhyve. There is a link in the document. Welcome, John. So this is probably still valid given that 15 has not arrived in that time. So check it out. I will add John. John, do you have any topics?
No. And do I sound any better or
You
different?
sound great.
You sound fantastic.
Yeah, that's the best in a long time. So I'm
Okay.
sure
Yeah.
we'll have something at
What
some point.
what
Congratulations.
microphone are you using? Can we please get those?
Different MacBook.
Got it. Yes, they're pretty good about built-in stuff. Okay, cool. And thank you for that link, Hazam. We'll get to that in a sec. Welcome, John. So, I did some ARM64 bhyve testing in excitement and anger and all the things. So, right off the bat, the ThunderX is still working. I determined this morning that it's got a 16 vCPU limit, like it always seemed to have, and somehow maybe the EM0 EM driver has disappeared and I no longer have networking, so I have to think about a different NIC for it. I have an Ampere that's also kindly loaned to me, and wow, it boots up Debian without issue, but FreeBSD absolutely insists on not booting past the EFI frame buffer, and John helped me diagnose that. It may need a firmware update. If any of you have one of those, I'd love to know what combination of firmware and UEFI you're running in ASRock land or ASRack land. And if you can figure out how to get their, let's see, their updaters to work. The web-based one is buggy. The UEFI-based one is buggy. And they have things like saying upload the tar file, but it's actually a zip. So I don't know if I should try making it into a tar, which I did, and it still failed. So there's that. FreeBSD is still choking on Mount Root on the ThinkPad X13S S for Snapdragon, not the Slim X13, which is just ambiguously named. And it will boot FreeBSD VHD VM images under Hyper-V, which I didn't even know they had Hyper-V on there, but boom, there it is. It worked as expected. And I have a dual honeycomb LZ2. And wow, it booted bhyve once, and now it throws this error pretty consistently, depending on, regardless of how much RAM I give it. The default is 256 megabytes if you don't specify the amount of RAM. And if this message means something to you, please reach out. If I bump that to 8 gigs RAM, it changes it slightly, maybe different addresses. I don't know. Any and all help is appreciated. I'll probably do a PR for that. Prior to a Sylve update, any other topics, or Hazam, do you want the floor? Go ahead and let's take a look at what image you dropped in chat. Ba, 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 ba. Debian 13 crashes on bhyve. Oh, by the way, is that the Debian that arrived like last week?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm actually daily driving it right now.
that's a very timely issue to bring up, and thank you for testing that. So let's start with that. Are you finding any variation of the latest Debian on bhyve is giving you trouble, or is it under specific circumstances?
I think it might be circumstances because actually I can share my screen maybe.
Sure, go ahead. And I
Um,
will drop that image in there. Stop share, boom.
no, I'm on Wayland today, so is it working now?
Yes, I see that.
Okay.
I do see your turquoise panic screen in the left there.
I
I actually
hope
have
it
one
is working
machine
because
that I run Linux on that I just upgraded it. I think Debian 13 last night.
yeah, Debian 13 has been great. Wayland has been, really cool. Everything works. Like screen sharing actually works now, I think.
No way.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, sir. Thank
Yeah,
you.
okay, that's good. That's good. Okay, so I don't have to
I
switch to
think
X11, which is great. Okay,
I'm
so
gonna say mine's still configured for X.
oh, okay. Yeah, I think Wayland will work most of the time now, but I'm not sure. So I was just playing around making a lot of VMs, and I had Windows with some CPUs pinned to it. But the thing is, I think maybe it might be my config because I pinned around 6 vCPUs to Windows, and then I didn't pin anything for Debian. So when I boot it up, I get a bunch of errors like during startup itself. Let's just see that again. Yeah, I don't know what these are. Okay, yeah. I have no idea what any of these mean. So this is what I shared the image of.
Okay. Yep.
Sometimes it just gets stuck here, like it won't boot further. I have to restart the machine. Okay, this looks like an NVIDIA issue maybe, because I'm also passing through an NVIDIA card into this machine.
Yeah, that's a lot of moving parts, but it's also good that you're
Mhm.
exercising it. You and John are probably the two people on the planet who have done the most CPU pinning, at least within the scope of these calls.
Okay. Yeah, regarding that, CPU pinning with what was it? No, not CPU pinning. Even one core, more than one core on Windows with the pass-through does not work. I didn't see any PRs about that on the FreeBSD Bugzilla stuff. So if anybody has some notes on that, that will be great as well. I'm not even sure how to debug bhyve at this point of time. So that's another thing.
Understood. Yeah.
Like if I pass anything through to Windows, let's just try that right now. It really messes up bhyve completely. Like it loses all state of what is happening in the world, and it's not fun. Like it just happens with Windows as far as I've seen, and maybe Debian 13 because I didn't test this machine without passing this through. So let's just remove that. Let's pass through that to Windows here. Oops, I should fix this thing.
I don't know
Let's
the
just pass through.
specifics about what you're dealing with your problems, but Procstat can be your friend. Extract the information about the different threads, statuses, etc., and it can give you some clues as to where it is and what it may or may not be doing.
Uh-huh. So let's just try it out now, maybe. Let's not pin any CPUs. I heard that causes some issues with Windows. Let's just leave it. Uh, okay. So now we have more than one vCPU. We have 8 vCPUs. I start Windows and it probably will just get stuck on the loading screen right here. Yeah. Yeah. Now it's stuck, I think. If it boots now, it'll be really funny.
You have many lucky charms present.
Well, it's one of those things. Demonstrations never work, even when you're trying to demonstrate a mistake.
Yeah, that's true. Let's see. I think it detected the new device at least. Hmm. It didn't get this far before. Like I got the crash within like a few seconds, maybe.
Okay.
Now it's just, is it boot? No, it's not boot looping. It's just stuck here, I think. They're doing something though. Yeah, we have some CPU usage. Mhm. Okay, I think it might be just stuck. Oh no, it's not. Did it crash? Did something happen? Okay, I think it rebooted for some reason.
That's possibly normal.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because Windows has never seen this GPU before, so it could be that.
How do you spell Trixie?
TRI.
TRIX.
Yeah, it's the
Mhm.
IE or Y. I'm going to try it
I
this.
think it's IE.
Yes, it's IE in the URL. So I'm trying a VM image as we speak. I've updated Imagine, and let's see if it boots.
Okay, yeah. So Windows
Oh,
booted this time
great.
with the pass-through. Let me just see if the device shows up.
If demonstrations always have a failure. So if you
Yeah,
try to show a
maybe
failure,
I
they'll
tried
work.
with pinned CPU before. I'm not sure now. Let's see. Could this be our device? It should show up here, right? Like if I pass through a GPU.
Yes, but it's at least you don't have a warning for that second one. That's a plus.
Yeah, maybe this is. It doesn't show up as my card though. Like
But
I
it
don't
sure
know.
is not the right model, right? Hmm.
Yeah, it used to show up as 1060.
Alexei, are you watching that?
He
Yes.
says yes.
Cool. That you are a resident expert. And I'm looking at your messages here. Let's see. Ah,
Okay, now let's try with the pinned CPU though. Maybe that'll trigger the crash. Windows really does not like us sending ACPI commands, I think, because it
really?
takes a long while for this to stop.
Hmm.
It's not fun. Let's pin a few CPUs here. Okay, now we have four
Oh well,
CPUs,
Xorg running.
CPU cores
Oh,
pinned.
I'm sorry. Xorg running on the syscon frame buffer on Intel Arc seems very smooth.
Very
It
smooth,
is so
you say?
laggy. Yeah, it is very laggy on AMD.
Hmm.
Okay,
I don't
I
know
have
why.
no idea how to reproduce the crash anymore. I think Windows just likes me now.
Okay, so you have both
That's
a
because we're
Debian crash
watching.
and a Windows crash?
I used to, but now it's
Okay,
just everything works fine.
excellent. And Debian spun up too?
Let's see, Debian. Okay, Debian just didn't like me starting it, I think. Okay. No, it's just shutting off now. Let's see the libvirt logs maybe. On the board. Unable to set up memory. What is this issue on bhyve?
Have you over allocated all your RAM?
I don't think so. I have 12 gigs here, 1 gig here, 4 gigs here. No,
Okay.
there should be plenty remaining. But let's try reducing it maybe.
And if you're on ZFS, are you tracking your arc? Because that collision is a classic.
Sorry, I didn't get you.
If you're using
Arc can
ZFS,
eat
the
up
arc
enough
will consume.
space
Yep. Go ahead, Andrew.
that you
Uh-huh.
can't
Yeah,
start VMs.
Or worse,
okay.
crash them violently.
Okay. Yeah, maybe
I
that's
Or
haven't
the thing.
seen
random
I
that.
things
reduced
if
my
you
RAM to
starve everything.
4 gigs now. Now I think it's good. Okay, now Debian boots up without issues as well. So I'm not sure.
Well, you came to the right place for
Yeah.
sympathies and positive energy, despite the sound of my voice.
I think we're good. Yeah. But the thing is, like when bhyve does crash, this time libvirt was behaving well. It didn't lose track of the world
Oh,
because
cool.
last time I kind of had to reboot my entire machine for libvirt to get itself fixed for some reason. But now that's completely gone in 11.5, I believe. So that's really good. Thanks, Roman, for that.
Yeah, it sounds like he's been
Yeah,
very responsive on all things libvirt.
yeah, yeah. So that's that. And on Sylve, I worked a lot on Jails. So Jails is
Oh,
now rad, if that
okay.
is something that people say still. So Jails is now really, really cool. And I did hot plugging for, switches and things like that.
Oh my.
And we'll just inherit from them, maybe. And we have resource limits, unlimited resources for jails, if that makes sense, because a user asked me on Discord like if we could do that, because they kind of don't restrict their jails to have a certain number of cores and RAM. They just want to use everything that's on their machine. I said, yeah, that's a good idea. And yeah, jails are pretty cool now. Jails are, I thought of using Bastille for jails, but I kind of rewrote a smaller version of Bastille, I would say,
Okay,
and
well,
it's been good. It's been good. And all of these stuff is like hot pluggable. It's not like VMs where you kind of have to restart. Here it just works.
what are some example hot pluggable resources?
Okay, so now if I have a CPU core, like for instance, let's run a stop here. And if I go into my console here, open SSL, 3 minus 24. So now you can see that it's just hammering that one core we allocated, right? Now if
Yeah,
I go here and disable the resource limits, see it starts taking up 4 cores now, or
interesting.
whatever
Okay.
we assigned here. Now if we go back here and say 12, it's gonna hammer all my cores. Now if we come here and then enable resource limits, they go back down to 1 core.
Okay, and is that the standard FreeBSD resource limit framework?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
cool.
See,
Okay, well,
resource limit
great.
and CPU set for CPU control. For RAM, I
Okay,
use RCTL. Yeah.
with RCTL and CPU set.
Yeah.
That is very cool.
Yeah. I kind of wish we had the thing where we can run a stop inside the jail and see which cores are offline and stuff, like kind of like in LXCs. But Jan told me like it's a lost cause, no point going there. But this demo I really like because this is exactly what I wanted to do in the beginning. Because
Wow.
I use a lot of containers, I mean LXCs that have a very like resource constrained situations, and this is gonna help a lot. And jails have not been like bhyve. bhyve had a lot of rough edges before with libvirt and stuff. It's getting a lot better now, but jails just works for the most part. And we treat jails kind of like miniaturized virtual machines. So kind of like Proxmox does with LXCs.
Yeah.
So that's that. Yeah.
Well, they've had a decade or more
I
extra
was gonna say jails
runtime.
have been around forever.
They wrote the
Yeah,
book.
exactly. So it should be good. Yeah. And
A
yeah,
solid
it
decade.
works fine. And networking of those is a charm. Like it just works.
Wow.
Yeah. Now if I
Any
want
performance
to,
surprises, be it in the networking, be it in anything?
I would say compared to LXCs, in my opinion, this is like much faster. Like it feels bare metal to me almost. Like LXCs are supposed to be bare metal, but I never really got that feeling of it being bare metal. It always felt like, okay, this is still somewhat slow, but this is like me running commands on my local machine, which it is, to be honest, but I don't know. It just feels snappier, I would
I
say.
hear you. And that was one of my problems with bhyve early on. It was so responsive that I would reboot like the host by accident because I couldn't like distinguish the two consoles.
Yeah.
Like, whoops, no.
So that's that. I implemented a tiny little screen here to see what the logs are that
Oh,
the
cool.
jail throws. So
Yeah,
you can kind of see like the logs during
probably.
startup and stopping, especially for like DHCP and stuff. It might take a while if your router is slow.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
great. You
So
are thinking
and now
like
we
a
have a
user.
DHCP address from my local router. That's cool. And we also populate the RC conf now so that you don't have to. It doesn't have to do it each time. It just puts it in here, and RC takes care of it. So yeah, that's about it for Sylve. And I made a lot of quality of life improvements thanks to this
Okay.
user on Discord. Like
Yeah. Oh, no
they have
kidding.
been kind of messing with it. Yeah, a lot of user feedback was incorporated here because and a good thing that he mentioned was he doesn't really like cleaning up after his jails or VMs. So he was like,
Mhm.
can we auto delete all the network objects
Oh,
that
sure,
the jail
totally.
uses?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that sounds cool. So now if you click on delete on any VM or jail, it just asks you, do you want to delete the associated MAC objects or IPs or whatever? Now when you come to your objects here, it's just gone. So that's that.
Okay, what about, say, Samba from Gibran's help?
I think I kind of finished that in a way. Like it just works now.
It just works. Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't have any issues past that audit log stuff, and I didn't test much after that because I don't have many users that use Samba in FreeBSD lab. I mean FreeBSD like stuff. So it worked the last time I tested. It just
Okay,
works.
so
So
that's
if you guys like
something
are
for the
testing it
rest of us
out,
to
I'd
start
be happy
testing.
to,
Yeah,
yeah,
well then,
exactly.
are you at a milestone where we should all really start testing, or are there some new features coming and it's still in flux?
That is a good question. I would say that
A
I'm kind
perennial
of ready
question.
to build the port now because I started working on a port today evening, I would say.
Okay,
And
okay.
some things are a little broken because I mentioned on our chat because one of the packages that I use for building the front end
Yeah,
has an issue where it doesn't build on FreeBSD ARM64.
that's a question of the hour. Okay.
Yeah, because
What's
Rust does not support FreeBSD ARM stuff yet as a first class what do you say like
Do you have the name
platform.
of that resource, of that package
Yeah,
unit,
it's Lightning
please?
CSS.
Okay, note
Yeah,
that.
they already have an issue on their GitHub. I'll post the link in chat.
Please do.
We really need this because without this, we can't build our, front end CSS.
Okay, well, thank you. And I spell it right. Let's see. I'll remove my hyphen. Okay, great. Uh,
Yeah. So once
and
this is done, I think ARM would be, fine for all things considered self because Go already builds fine. I tested it out.
okay,
It just
great.
works.
Got it.
Yeah. So the only blocking thing for ARM is this, at least as far as jails are concerned.
Okay, fair
Um,
enough.
I mean, sorry, as far as Sylve is concerned, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. But and Beehive will probably need some different handling, of course, but don't worry about that. Let's first just get, step one before step two. Very
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. And since we use libvirt, I think most of the bhyve things will be handled by libvirt. I hope so.
Interesting. Yes, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And is that port being updated, or are you running off of your own builds of libvirt?
No, no, I'm using the ports version of libvirt. I
Great.
always do
Okay.
that because I
Nice.
know like how
Ah,
difficult it will be for users.
yeah, of course.
So yeah.
So he's
So
responsive.
I
Good
kind of
point.
stick with the
That's great.
latest though. I don't support 14.2 anymore because we're gonna have issues there. So 14.3 and above should work fine mostly.
Okay. And this,
Yeah.
okay, I see that the Rust question was 3 weeks ago, so that's pretty fresh.
Mhm.
Did you report that, or are others reporting that?
I think somebody else reported it, but I
Great.
did add that the link to that issue from my repo as well.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Maybe
Also,
if they have a lot of people asking this, they might add builds for this as well
exactly.
because yeah.
And let's see what
Because
link they.
I know it is possible because Rust on ARM64 on FreeBSD works pretty good. I tested it on my MacBook Air.
Okay.
So as a VM though, like it works fine mostly. I didn't test much. I just tested a Hello
Good.
World with
Yeah,
that.
well,
Yeah, and it
that's a
works
great
fine.
start.
Yeah.
Let's see what they say. GitHub parcel, is that the same one? 559. Oh, it's a link to itself in the same. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, that is different. Okay. Well, do we know who the FreeBSD Rust person is? There's typically a maintainer of such things, or at least a loving caretaker. Okay.
I
Well,
think they did a pretty good job of porting it, like because it just worked for me. I think it's more on the Rust side, Rust people that has to be fixed because they don't consider this as a first class platform.
right.
So they kind of have to fix it so that, these guys who are downstream from Rust, they have to, see that and then make builds for that because these guys use their own CIs. So they just didn't add it because Rust does not provide builds.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the thing I think.
And so you're mostly in Go, but that's a Rust-based component. Are there alternatives to that, or is that the best one available, Lightning CSS?
I would say this is the best one available. It is like at least 100 times faster than whatever was there before.
Oh, good to know. Okay.
Yeah.
And
So
are there any Zig components you could add for completeness?
um
Just
not yet, I think.
have every modern dependency and live in the future?
Yeah.
Like every tool
We
depending on
do
both
have
Perl and
workarounds
Python?
here. Like I discussed in that issue on Sylve's repo that we could build the front end stuff because front end stuff is mostly like what do you say, transpiling from one language to another, like from TypeScript to
Mhm.
JavaScript or stuff like that, and SCSS to SCSS to normal CSS and things like that. So we could build that and then put it on the repo, but I wouldn't say it's the very clean thing to do
Yeah,
because especially for ports, it's good to have the user build everything from scratch. So maybe I'll look into that way if these guys like kind of ignore us completely.
understood. Well,
So
yeah, just trust your
yeah.
instincts. You're doing great. My gosh. Any questions for Hezam? Alrighty then. And Andrew, I recall Go being quite well supported on Lumos. Is that accurate?
I think we have Go packages. I don't do a lot in Go, so it's one of the very few languages that I don't do very much in. Actually, I've done
No.
a little
They're,
bit
they're,
in it.
they're pretty supported on OmniOS.
Yeah,
Welcome, Anjanig. How are you?
I am
that's what he was
outside,
asking.
so apologies for the wind.
Ah, you're outdoors. We just received a lovely Sylve demo. It is moving very quickly to a point that it's ready for a port to get broader testing.
Nice.
Yes, and it includes Go bits, Rust bits, and ooh, let me check on my Debian 13, a minute away. Did you catch any of that demo?
I saw it on the FreeBSD Reddit.
Yes, that's been getting some good traction. Do you happen to know who the FreeBSD Rust advocate is, if there is such a person?
I know the Rust haters. Does that count?
Well, gee, we can't help but notice that the Rust project doesn't consider FreeBSD a first-class tier one platform, which is a bit of a problem for Hezam's work.
Yeah, like Rust up doesn't work most of the time, or not with the latest releases.
I see.
Yeah. So yeah, there are some problems there, but no, I think mm, uh, there's a good amount of work that's been done by Alan Jude
Oh, okay.
Latera from the Harden BSD project regarding integrating Rust into the ports more tightly, as well as into bsd.mk, the makefile about building the kernel, because now there are some kernel things that are written in Rust in a separate branch, of course.
Okay,
But
got it.
they have done some good work, and if Hisam, if you look into the commits for that, you will find all of the people who wrote like the Rust userland utilities, which uses all of that bits properly, very tightly integrated. It's still in a separate branch, but it's a very good, well done hackathon that they did, and there's a lot to learn from that, especially
Cool.
for porters. I hope
Hizam,
that
reach
helps.
out outside of this and I can connect you with these people. But that's great to know.
Will do.
Cool. And I have a Debian update. Using my Imagine framework that I'd need to push, it worked exactly as expected right out of the box. So that's cool. So broadly, Debian 13 is supported. Just saying. There's the tail end of that. Oop, real tiny. Anyway. Oof. Okay, let's see. Going down the list, Alexei, do you have any nifty GPU related news or is there any help you need with hardware or otherwise?
I don't know. I'm currently compiling FreeBSD 15. It's almost done.
Okay, cool.
I
Uh,
want to. I'm gonna test the Intel Arc drivers. They should be in the DRM key mod now.
and do note that the weekly snapshots can save you a whole bunch of compilation time. I just use VM images on hardware, both
Oh,
ARM64 and Intel.
okay.
So, and I do that with Imagine, which I just used for Debian, which allows me to spin up a VM during a call without having to think about it.
Oh, okay.
Uname dash A. I hope it's that it's 64 blah 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 blah. Oh, good. Thank you, Debian. When you do uname, it doesn't either mention. Oh, Deb13 is hiding in packages names, but not like Trixie and all that. But anyway, it came up. Yay. Okay, great stuff going on. I love it. Does anyone else have news or questions? I will drop in this discovery.
Can
Yeah,
you
I
drop
do.
some APIC
Yes.
drug bug?
Okay, who is that
So
and what you got?
There's an APIC bug dropped in chat.
Oh, okay. Let's take a look. Chat. Oh, yes, John. Tell us more.
Not a whole lot to tell. Just doing some experimentation on a new supermicro system, running some Ceph nodes and VMs, and ran into a APIC ID issue. And I was Googling around and saw this bug had recently been entered, and I just had to smile when I was reading but the entries in that bug report. It's very interesting to read, at least to me. Just goes to show where I find my humor.
Very good. Submitted by DWMW2. Oh, and
Yeah.
14.3. Oh dear, this is not 15. Okay. Here's that full path, and we can look together. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see what you got. Okay. From the 30th. Okay. Is bhyve involved in any way?
No, bhyve is not directly involved in any way. They're running FreeBSD uh, as a they're running FreeBSD under QEMU and having issues with the settings for APIC IDs,
Okay.
along with a couple of other various settings with the bars, etc. There's more down here towards the bottom.
Okay.
But it is relevant to virtualization
Yeah.
and running FreeBSD under that said virtualization.
Got it. Oh, when you've got John, you've got Constantine. Well, the right folks are looking at it.
Oh, sure,
That's
but I don't. It was just very interesting to read, and the way the way that interesting to read the way things are advertised, the way we look at them, what the defaults are, what the defaults could be uh, for how we process these different options. If
got
you
it.
scroll down to the bottom, there's a relatively short, explicit comment that's been added.
Uh,
Scroll up just a little bit. Keep going. Well, I thought there it is, right in that comment that you're on right there provides a lot of context.
and it is from, oh, there we go. Okay, comment 12. Noted. Thank you. Oh, and Hyper-V mentioned. And if I'm not mistaken, this is a anchor copy link address. Cool. Thank you for that. Circling back to Sylve. Antranig, you have some questions?
Yeah, I do. And let me know if my voice drops or anything, because I don't know how windy it is here. I hope it's not much. So here's the question. So basically, all of my customers, the setup has always been VMB for VMs and Jailer for jails, and the networking and other stuff is done manually. So it's not like we're using VMB to manage the network, right? Everything is done with.
You're cutting out.
So
Yeah.
I am cutting out. Okay, that's terrible.
You weren't before, but just then you started to cut out badly.
I just told iOS to not do any black magic. How about now?
Just try it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, good. So, because I use these two tools, VMB Hive and Jailer, I'm happy. But other sysadmins are not happy because they don't know how to use the terminal. Very expected. So Sylve becomes a very nice option. The question is, can I use Sylve as a gateway, less or so? So I don't have to recreate everything in Sylve, but rather like import the settings into Sylve. Does that make sense?
I will add to that. I've had a colleague ask, could it in some way support lightweight VMB Hive syntax? So let's rephrase it as, how do we make it easy for VMB Hive users to migrate to Sylve, either with similar syntax or just something that allows for all their command line muscle memory because it has its own little VM shell. Maybe that could be, I don't know, a lightweight front end to what's behind the scenes, or also from another angle, what does Sylve command line use look like? And you're muted, Hazam, so I don't know if you've jumped in on any of that.
And if like and since it's in Go, like my team can also contribute to that, right? Like it would be nice to have a way to integrate Sylve with Bastion and Jailer and VMB Hive. So it would become like a web interface for all of these things, similar to like how virtsh is to other things. Like you can use virtsh for Kubernetes, you can use virtsh for Cameo, you can use virtsh for whatever other weird things Red Hat has, right? So like that would be a nice way of having Sylve to do that, because I want me to use Jailer on VMB Hive, but I want the other sysadmins to use Sylve because they don't know how to use the terminal, basically. If that makes sense. It might not,
Let's explore it. There's no single answer to probably any of that. So Hazam, if you've got a moment, let us know. I know you're muted. Maybe you've got someone.
Okay, so for me, it's mostly like how do I say this? The number of users that use VMB Hive or bhyve at all is like less, and then the people who would use Sylve is even lesser at the moment. So like having this much work done just so that we can support a few number of users would be like a lot of work, right? Like, so I'm not really sure if we would go in that direction, but like if there is some user that wants something that's very simple, like if they don't do much crazy stuff on VMB Hive, maybe like just raw disks or walls, maybe I could write something that'll help them migrate it one time.
Okay,
But
yep.
writing an interface to kind of manage VMB Hive, I would kind of not do that. But one-time migration, I'm kind of happy with.
Okay. Does Sylve have any notion of a command line tool, like a little shell or anything?
We could write a shell, like I would write like maybe something. Yeah, we could write a shell thing. That's not an issue.
I mean, especially considering in the kind of in the middle, you've got it as an API, so you would just need a shell.
Exactly.
Talk to that API.
Note that pre-NAS 10, Corral had a somewhat compelling shell with its own syntax, and that was the part I loved most about that project, and it happened to be the part that worked the best, such that I think we should have a broader conversation of like who gets this right, and what should we emulate. Granted, in FreeBSD land, there's the most VMB Hive experience by definition, even if that's statistically low broadly. So You mentioned VRSH, was it, Antranig? And was it either Versh or VertSH? And are you using it and liking it, or is it just statistically popular and no one likes it?
So it is statistically popular because of like OpenStack, right? For by
Okay.
Red Hat. I hate it, obviously, for
That's okay.
very,
Hence my preface saying.
very, for very simple engineering reasons. I don't know anyone who likes it. Like it's clear. I mean, I know people at Red Hat who don't like it, right? So that's on one end. On the other end, I
You're
think
garbled.
Yeah, you're back to garble. Sorry. I concur with Andrew.
let's wait. Let's wait. How about now?
You were good for
Okay.
the let's wait. So if you're like
Okay.
under a bridge or whatever, great. Do what you got to do.
Wind. It's just literally
Wind.
wind.
Okay, cool.
Wind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't fly
So
away.
he's taking the Bluetooth signals away. So so basically, I think I can have in my team write something called like Sylve Sync utility, where it would sync information using the Sylve API. So we wouldn't even need a new feature in Sylve, right? Like, hey, let's just have a good API, which exists, great, where it would sync information back and forth between VM bhyve and Sylve, or like between a jailer and Sylve, Bastille and Sylve, because I love that idea. Like, I'm totally okay with having to do that work manually every time I want information to be synced back and forth. A good example of this would be that I would love to do like Sylve sync to jail.conf, and then Sylve would generate the jail.conf of the jails from the Sylve database. Right?
Oh,
So
right. Okay. From the
that would be very useful for like migrations and stuff like that, or like to working with less than competent, all of what it is. Sysadmins who don't know how to use the terminal, but they need the web UI. Meanwhile, I prefer the terminal because I can do the more automation and stuff like that. So I think I would be okay with that.
Well, and
So
I'll
that
throw in
was,
having a
uh-huh.
native bhyve config file generated would also be nice. Just to, I
Yeah,
mean, be a
yeah,
Swiss Army knife, and it's an API, so use it as an API. And
yeah,
if
yeah,
someone does something completely
yeah.
different, well, may a
I
thousand
mean,
flowers bloom.
a tool like that could also convert back and forth between VM bhyve and the bhyve config file, right? So it's the
Right.
same concept. So that would be nice, I guess. I don't think why I wouldn't also write the same thing, but it would generate a zone config file, because in Illumos land, the bhyve has a zone configuration file, right, with the XML output. So I mean, it's basically just parsing text and converting them. So that would be a nice tool, I guess, where it would help Sylve grow if people want to deploy for the migration purposes. So like moving from VM bhyve to Sylve. And it would also be nice for me. So I could give Sylve to other sysadmins and move the data back to a jail.conf when I'm working on it, So that's the idea. Which brings me to my specific question. In Sylve, is it running like the jail command, or do you have like a jail wrapper for the jail syscontrol? Sorry, the jail syscall, and you're calling the syscall, right? Because like jailer calls the jail command, Bastille calls the jail command. I think there are one or two other jailers who will be confused by the we start with the jail syscall, not the jail command. In the Illumos land, as far as I know, no one uses the zone syscall, but rather everyone uses the zones utility, even Smart OS. Like they just wrap around the utility.
Okay, so Hizam, the question is, are you using the jail command or using jail syscalls?
Oh, we're definitely using the jail command because the only two things I do with it is start and stop.
Okay.
Rest everything is handled in the config syntax, like the jail.conf stuff. I don't edit jail.conf. I make a different config for each of our jails. So they're all kind of separate. So yeah, we do use syscalls in some places. Like we wrote a lot of C for getting network information and things like that, because running ifconfig and getting stuff in there would be horrible. I was very against using shell commands to make things work, but some places like ZFS and jail was like places where I couldn't find a good alternative to that.
So let
So,
me
and
ask you
jail
a
start and
question.
stop. Yeah.
Sorry, and this is like a very specific question, could be even a very off topic of the call. So one of the problems that
Mm-hmm.
the jailer has is
Mm-hmm.
if we have a VNet jail, what I do,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, is I have to like JExec inside of a jail or like run if config inside of a jail with the -J flag, get the information of the
Mm-hmm.
IP address because I know what the interface name is and print it. Now, in my home server where I have like 20 jails, that is not a problem. But in a customer large server where there's like 200 jails, when I go
Mm-hmm.
jailer list, it's like, okay, let's go and make some coffee. So, because like it's forking and execing like 250 or 300 times just to list the jail with the IP addresses. Again, very VNet specific, right? If it's
You're muffled again. You're windy. Oh, worse
windy,
yet.
not windy. Okay.
You're in the
Okay.
dumpster. Help him.
How about
Try
now? Okay,
again.
good. Yeah. But if that's the problem with VNet jail. If it is not a VNet jail, like regular jail, no problem. If it's 200, you do jail list or like JLS, you see all of the IPs in a second. It's like the information is in the kernel. But with VNet, it's a problem. I wonder if you have the similar problem or not with getting the IP addresses from a VNet jail.
One, that's a good point. Two, that brings up the question of a simple VM guest utility that reports network information, reports other status.
Okay, I'm not super sure about the question that he asked, but
So to
yeah.
retrieve network information from a VNet jail, are you finding you have to
Uh-huh.
run ifconfig with JExec inside the jail to leak out that information?
That is a good question. I didn't work on getting IPs from jails yet. I didn't face that issue yet because I didn't do it. This is a simple answer because
Sure,
I
sure, sure.
assign the IPs from outside and then it just appears in the jail. But I can see the appeal where it would be necessary for things like DHCP.
Right,
And
exactly.
yeah. That I could. We don't need to do JExec those. There might be another way. There might be a smart way to do that, and I could look into that because right now what I did is I have two ways of initializing IP addresses inside the jail. One is static IPs,
Yeah.
and the other is SLAC and DHCP. So in the case of SLAC and DHCP, he's right. Like doing IF configs across 200 jails would not be fun. So I would probably write something for that because I already have a lot of syscalls written in that direction for getting IPs from like the host. I have this ifconfig.go file that handles all the interface stuff from Goland and CLand. So yeah, I could work on that. That is a very nice suggestion to implement.
Yeah, and think about, is that a guest agent opportunity where we just follow the QEMU syntax or similar and just say, hey, either over serial or something
For
over a
what
socket,
is it
here's
called?
how we
What is it called? What is it called? I forgot. For VMs, so VMs, that is
right.
a very good way to go about it. Guest agent is the way to go about it.
Oh, that's a very
But for
good point.
jails,
Yeah, I'm
I'm not
thinking
sure. Yeah.
from a user perspective, having those behave similarly is always attractive. I'll just leave it at that. Uh,
Yeah. That is true. That is true.
follow.
Michael, we might need to do research to see if the information of the IP of the VNet jails is saved somewhere in the kernel on the host, which it should be, right? Because like it's just a VNet zip, a
It's just
VNet
a
stack.
process, eh?
Yeah, so like I can just instead of running if config, I would need. But that's a problem with jailer because like I don't want to have C code. If I had C code, my life would be much easier. The whole goal is to like do it in pure shell. But I'll think about that too. Maybe, and this is just an idea, we can expose the VNet information to the host via sysctl, like jail name interface index IP address. Just expose that
Interesting.
over sysctl. and then the host can be like, "Hey, give me all the IP addresses with the real name over TCP/IP or syscontrol, depending on how American you are." So yeah.
Right. Yeah, and like you said, that information has to be somewhere, unless VNet has its own table of information to query. I don't know. Got
Because
it.
when I do like a kernel dump, of a host, which happens a lot, thanks to Supermicro for having scalable interfaces.
You're muffled again. Muffled, blowing away. Oh.
Yeah, because if I do like a kernel dump, happens a lot on Supermicro sometimes when it's like, just new devices and stuff.
We can barely hear you.
Okay. Right now.
Try it, sure.
Okay, good. Because if you read a kernel dump, you would see that information in the kernel dump. Like you would see like, oh, here's a VNet, here's a VNet. You can jump back and forth and see the interfaces and the IP addresses in the kernel dump. Obviously.
Okay. Well, as always, you have a long list of ideas and goodies. And tell us, John, what have you just posted? Let's see. Yeah, we all have our homework to do, but this is very exciting because it's pulling together so many different components and key point exercising them, which is very, very important because having like CPU pinning and an unknown bug related to it doesn't help anybody. But if you're making it so easy to exercise, people will hopefully get their feet wet. So, David
David
Woodhouse,
Woodhouse.
what's going on
What's going
here?
on here?
John, do you have
John, do you have
your
your
speaker on?
speaker on?
Different computer now. Sorry.
Oh, no worries.
No worries.
You were
I get
asking
you.
how you were asking how this relates to bhyve, and this commit was just made, which relates to that bug. So this allows bhyve to actually do some things it wasn't able to do previously, of which I am personally interested in some of this. So I'm just bringing it to the attention. This is some good stuff.
Well, in
Well,
fact,
in fact, that looks.
go ahead and
Go
mute
ahead and mute
your
your.
speaker because I get to hear an echo of myself. This sure sounds like Hans's territory with CPU ID, so I hope it's not conflicting in any way, shape, or form with his review. But okay, thank you. I will bring that to his attention. John, any other tricks up your sleeve? News, science projects, you name it?
Nothing major. I've been working on an older Dell system that doesn't support NVMe boot to use as a hypervisor. So I've got a USB card with a NSH script that loops over looking for the bootable entity and transfers to it, which I can probably share that in a couple of weeks if you'd like. It's at the hypervisor level, setting up the system. It's not directly bhyve related, but it was interesting.
John, speaking. Now I can hear myself.
Yes.
Okay, good. Speaking of Dell, it's kind of hypervisor related. A customer bought the server without asking me in advance. Terrible mistake. Ever heard of Dell boot drives, which like only works in RAID 1 on hardware, and I can never see it in software?
So that was the boss card?
Yes.
I avoid boss cards like the plague.
There you go.
I've had to use them in the past. They are not fun to use, in my opinion. They're very targeted towards something like VMware.
Yes, they are.
So from a FreeBSD perspective, because I'm using FreeBSD as the host, should I just like disable it and not use it? Because I couldn't find a way at all to make it work as like if you can either have it as hardware RAID 1 or you just can't see it. I have no.
You are correct. I typically put a very small most of the Dells have a USB adapter internal to the system, and I
Yep.
usually put a very, very small UEFI bootable USB stick in there, and then transfer control to whatever else I've added to the system. I don't know what system you're adding, but a lot of times I take the Del Rey card out and put a LSI Broadcom card in and recable it for the front end. If it's like a, if it has 8, 10, or 24 drives across the front. And depending on cost, you can also pick up some relatively inexpensive X16 4x4 NVMe adapter cards, and you can actually get a lot of storage in these things relatively cheaply.
On
Hope
that
that
note,
helps.
go ahead and mute. I noticed that the Micron M.2 devices are, I believe, intended for, ironically, the BOSS, seem to be bootable in ways that other devices are not. Unfortunately, they've recently gone up in price, which is unfortunate, but that's a thing. So, hey, Zam, you found something about, is it the conversion from XML to bhyve command? Okay, let's take a look. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah, that it's either the 400 gig or the near terabyte. So Hazam, you've given this a try. We pointed at the native format. Oh, okay. So that's already built into Roman's work, sounds like.
Oh yeah, I think this was there before he started working on it, or maybe he did it before. But this is really cool. It was really helpful for me to, kind of debug stuff.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Okay. Um, is that a quotation mark in some languages or not? The double arrow.
Oh no, it's just my shell stuff,
No worries. Okay.
CSS stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Cool. That's encouraging. Well, we've covered a lot of good ground and a lot of good things are taking place. Thank you, everyone who's doing that. Any other questions, ideas, news? And from the humor department, there's a link to a video about a company started with AI with all the possible fallout that comes from that. Anyway, other topics, or shall we call it good at 20 something? No, 18 something UTC. Let's see. Antranig, you are to blame for this. Would you like the honors?
I'd like to give the honors to you because of the win. So please do that.
You're handing it over?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Andrew, let her rip.
Like and subscribe.
Thank you, everyone. I'll be around a few minutes, and I wish you a great week and weekend.